In a 13th century notebook of a French scholar, there lies a curious Latin sentence. It translates roughly to, "The smallest mimes of the gods of snow do not wish at all in their life that the great duty of the defences of the wine be diminished." Intriguingly, it's not the sentence's peculiar meaning that captivates us. What's remarkable is its composition in Gothic script, almost entirely using minims, the short strokes forming I's, U's, M's, and An's. This script exemplified legibility challenges, often rendering words nearly indecipherable. This confusion led scribes to alter spellings for readability, but nothing impacted English more than 2 centuries later to a moment in history called Caxton's printing press of 1476. Johannes Gutenberg introduced the printing press to mainstream Europe in the 1450s. It revolutionized the way information was disseminated and marked a turning point in human history. By introducing movable type printing to Europe, it enabled the mass production of books, drastically reducing their cost and making knowledge more accessible to a wider audience. This democratization of information fostered an unprecedented spread of ideas, laying the groundwork for the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the scientific revolution, and ultimately shaping the modern world as we know it. During this time, an Englishman by the name of William Caxton was living in Bruges and saw a printing press on a visit to Cologne. Intrigued and excited over its prospects, he set up a printing press in Bruges. It was here in 1473 that Caxton printed the first ever book in English, a translation of the history of Troy. When he returned to England in 1476, Caxton brought the printing press with him and set up shop in Westminster. Caxton began printing such popular works as Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and Ovid's Metamorphoses. Over time, Caxton will print as many as 108 books, many requiring translation, of which 26 of the titles were translated by himself. There were many challenges that Caxton faced. The English language was changing rapidly during this time, such that the pronunciation and spelling of words was inconsistent across England. It would have been unreasonable for Caxton to print multiple books in the different dialects, but without a standard English language to use, what was he to do? In the prologue of Caxton's translated work for Virgil's Aeneid, he recounts an anecdote that demonstrated his conundrum. A man from northern England had travelled to London and asked a woman,
"Good wife, may I buy some eggs?"
To which she replied,
"Sorry, I do not speak French."
"I too do not speak French."
However, a man nearby stepped in to help.
"I do believe he means to buy some Aaron."
"Ah, that I understand."
Recalling this scene of misunderstanding, Caxton wrote,
Lo, what should a man in these days now write? Eggs or Aaron? Certainly it is hard to please every man because of diversity and change of language.
Caxton's solution was to pick and choose from the myriad of words and spellings to use in his printed books. He did borrow heavily from the Chancery Standard, a form of written English that was used by the Chancery, the office of the Chancellor in England, in their official and legal documentation. Since Caxton was mass-printing popular literature, his spellings reached a wide audience. In a short time, his choices of spelling became the de facto standard for all of England. Despite his laudable efforts at standardization, Caxton made many inconsistent and archaic choices. He sometimes simply transferred French words into English. In fact, he brought many foreign influences into English, such as spelling ghost with an H, the Dutch way. He put an S in the word island due to a misunderstanding that the word derived from the Latin word insula. In words like doubt and debt, he inserted a B because of their Latin origins, despite the B not being pronounced. He also preserved many older linguistic forms, contrary to the current manner of pronunciation. For example, words like knife and night retained the K, even though the K was no longer being pronounced. William Caxton's legacy in shaping the English language is deeply profound. His pioneering efforts in establishing standardized English have had a lasting influence on both literacy and literature. The impact of his work is echoed in the words we use daily. English, known for its challenging and often illogical spelling, remains a complex language to master. Yet, it is this very complexity enriched by a myriad of foreign influences that lends English its unparalleled richness, making it an exceptionally versatile language for poetry and literature. Thank you for watching this moment in history. If you liked this episode, please like and subscribe.